guitar, just got it in the mail. The way it was packaged, surprised it didn't fail. Anyway, I'm just kind of making up some words, playing around here. I'm hooked up to a product that I was testing in the past for a really friendly guy who basically, and I say a friendly guy, but you know, what I mean is someone who was conducting business with me. Someone wanted me to review this product, and I've enjoyed reviewing this product. It was sent to me as a gift. Now, this guitar wasn't sent to me as a gift. I paid for it, and the way it was shipped might be hard to see. There, you can kind of see the dent right about here. So this guitar was shipped in a cardboard box, barely had any packaging. It's a miracle it got here intact to begin with. There were pieces that fell off, the little the gear head covers. They had fallen off, and this guitar had taken a pretty good jarring. I'm glad, out of all the places it could have become bent, I'm glad it was right here on the end, because you can't really see it, but you can see this. Check it out. What an amazing guitar. I was going to use a few different words to describe it. I realize more and more that even though these videos aren't made for kids, they certainly can be viewed by kids. And in a lot of ways, I'm a kid just like you. Now, this strap that was included, I don't know that it's the official strap that was originally included with this guitar. I was finishing out a wall with products inspired by Star Wars. And this was the capping piece, or the crowning piece. And at the same time, I've got a Luke Skywalker guitar that was certified limited to 50 in production. And it's, out of all the numbers, it's number 13. So lucky 13 out of 50 got to me completely intact and without this mail delivery attack having occurred to it. So even though this got to me, I mean, it got to me despite all kinds of crazy odds, but it had to use almost a challenging force to make it through. So you come out a little more scarred, but some of those scars, like in the case of some of the super villains of the movies that we watch, some of those scars can lend some interesting traits to these characters that help them to shine in the last moments when it's really time to do so. So, on that note, I was just kind of messing around with the guitar, tuning it. I find a rhythm in everything I do. I find a rhythm, I find it inside of you. That just kind of came to mind. I mean, directly from picking up this instrument, which I was trying to figure out why I was making this weird squeaking noise just a while ago. I don't know. I'm sure I panned it so many times it would have been shown, but this string was caught on the pickup, and I was playing some kind of a weird screeching noise that I couldn't quite figure out. How am I doing that? Anyway, I'm testing this guitar live right now. This is, let's call it episode 17 of Wellness and Conservation. Wellness and Conservation, this series to our health, dedicated to our health, 30 days of health and wellness, I guess is what I was originally calling it. Like I said from the beginning, it's whatever we decide to call it for the day. We're all in class together. We're all in class together learning. And if I had show and tell, and if I had the stones to have done it when I was a kid, I would have played music, and I would have played music loud, and you know, I would have played it like I just played it for you right now, those of you who are watching this segment, which is, as I said, we'll call it episode 17. And at the same time, it's almost like a product review, but it's not. See how everything kind of ties together? It doesn't matter what purpose we intend when we carry out our work. It's going to lead us in the directions that we need to go to complete whatever journey it is that certain items are meant to make, certain things are meant to happen, etc., and so forth. I know some of the way I talk, some people say it's a little bit out there, I don't understand what you're talking about. But I know you do, because music and compassion, love, it's all a universal language. And that's what makes certain things work. Love. If not for love, then what? So for episode 17, I'm putting in a little bit of a review of what I just received, so that we could all see it at the same time. I contacted the initial person who I was doing business with on this very matter, which is that the way it was packed, the way this item was sent was almost reckless. And that's nothing to say against the person who sent it, because they also had implied on their auction or sales page that they were going to be sending this in a creative manner that would allow the shipping fees to be kept down, which that in fact did happen. But when this item arrived, like I say, it looked like it had suffered a pretty tremendous thump, and that caused some issues, some cosmetic issues in the guitar itself, which I showed you earlier. But it plays fine. Not only does it play fine, now I don't know about most people who practice, certain things. I've got a neat little workout space that I was fortunate enough to put together. A lot of it courtesy of the dollars from my former employer, who had a wellness program where they gave you an amount to put towards wellness and fitness equipment. So I built a really neat room that I really had never used. In fact, most of my life has not been spent going green. Most of my life has been spent in an excessive way. And it's those excesses that I come to realize over and over. And I also recognize that at a certain point, I kept pointing the finger all across the board to avoid seeing my own self in the mirror, so to speak. So it's the same way that passion for one another can come through or not come through when we're in tune and in the right chord, in tune and in the right place, versus wherever I was a while ago, out of tune and in the wrong place. Like a lot of us. Sometimes we don't know we're out of tune and out of place until we can recognize what the difference is between being in tune and in the right place, sometimes at the right time. How does that all happen? I don't know. I just find a rhythm in everything I do. I find a rhythm in everything but you. I point the finger at everyone but me. Too stubborn to hear it, too blind to see. That's kind of how a songwriting process goes for me. I'll come up with a chord progression and then just feel it and try to find where it is that my voice fits into the place, if at all. And I've made a lot of songs that I've showcased in the past, and some people, you can tell there's a variance when you're in the zone and when you're not in the zone, when you're inspired versus when you're not inspired, and when you feel possibly like you might be on the spot, because a lot of people will not try something new in this kind of format, for an example, because frankly it's quite embarrassing. If you look back at the progression from where I started, there are some things that are quite laughable. In all of those experiences are a myriad of teachers teaching experiences. In all of these experiences where we get kind of bumped up along the way, bumped and bruised, beaten and scarred, kicked off of the Metallica fan club page on Facebook, on social media, because you sang a song there and someone didn't want to see anything unrelated to Metallica. When things like that happen, you recognize it's like, man, these things that you really associate with and allege to, sometimes they don't back you quite the same way if you become as unique as you are. And by that, what I mean is, many of us are wearing masks. Many of us are taking the opportunities to hide those talents, those morsels of inspiration that we feed one another, that are quite more nourishing than a lot of the foods that we've been eating, especially during these lockdown times, while we struggle to kind of pacify ourselves. So, for me, I got another guitar. I can't tell you off the bat how many I have right now. I consider myself a curator of these items, though, and so even though you see me playing it and talking about it and all that, it's also going to be listed for sale, as with all of the other guitars that I have, possibly with the exception of one. Maybe even then I'll put that for sale, because when we talk about achieving things in life, we often talk big about, oh yeah, I would fight that guy, I would do this, that, and the other. But when you risk the things that you tend to and that you actually nourish and give consideration to, and by things I don't mean just obviously materialistic objects, I mean everything that we are the stewards of. When we care for those things and we put those up as a wager and say, I wager, if I give the universe my pride and passion, if I give it all of the options that I had to make myself happy, and said, you know what? I accept these gifts daily. I also accept the absence of these gifts. I recognize the difference, and I'm so grateful that I have these items, that I have these opportunities, these people in my life. I'm so happy that I have all of this. When I have that kind of respect, I want to nurture and nourish those people, that life that's around me. When I have trouble nourishing those things that are around me, oftentimes it's because I myself have not been nourished. And I might not care so much for certain things that reflect in certain ways. Whether the item is mine temporarily, for as long as I might live and be able to tend to these objects, or someone else's who is transferring that to someone else. We want to leave things in better condition, as good as or better than when we received them ourselves. So it goes for ourselves. Our very bodies are gifts. We might not think we asked for them. We might be here for a reason. It's not up to me to evaluate, assess, and assign anyone's personal beliefs, spiritual or otherwise. I'm only saying that when there's a belief that there is something worth getting up in the morning for, then certainly there is something worth tending to and making more beautiful. I hope that I've made your space more beautiful today. I hope that I've brought a smile to some of you. And I also hope that some of you hearing possibly what I can or can't do can either provide me with some assistance to get to where I'm absolutely headed, be it in the form of conversation, monetization to help me to ease some of the burdens that there are, or whatever. As long as you continue to help resonate these positive energies, I can assure you that I'm going to do the same thing. So, for as long as I can do it, as long as I'm blessed with this gift of being able to share what we're here for, share life, I'm going to do my best. Today it came in the form of what I think is a pretty amazing guitar, targeted to those aged 12 or older. Makes me feel like a kid. Not so much as the guitar strap though. This guitar strap makes me feel even more like a kid, because if I were designing this guitar, I think the original strap that came with this guitar might not have been in this format. It might have been a little darker. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is I'm grateful that I am thankful that this item got to me in playable condition and helped inspire whatever happened between us today. Peace, blessings, and wealth. Health is wealth. Thank you for subscribing, those who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, it's real easy. You just kind of move your app around until you can see the frame. Click on it, you shrink the video, whatever you need to do to see the app. You might have a little subscribe button there. If not, it doesn't matter. Not after any particular subscription. I'm just encouraging you to subscribe to those things that you enjoy. And if you happen to enjoy this, I hope that you return the favor of clicking on the subscribe button, because that doesn't cost any money. And I believe you have to have a YouTube account. If you do and you don't have an account and you're just watching that, don't worry, bypass it. Do whatever is the easiest thing to bring peace to your life today. But if you do subscribe, and when I do reach the echelon of 1,000 subscribers, I will again become monetized on YouTube, which I was when they previously had a subscriber base of 100 viewers. At which point, on average, it looked like I was making about 3 cents, I believe, per month. So I wasn't getting rich. I'm not doing this to get rich. I just really enjoy participating in conversation that has to do with wildlife and nature. And in those forums, specifically in an era that we've recently been going through, it is increasingly difficult to converse solely about wildlife and conservation. And so I tried to turn the conversation inward so that we understand that self-control and open discussion are absolutely what's necessary in this global economy that we all participate in. And in order to get those global messages out, especially when they're inspired and aligned in a way that you yourself believe in, we have to share this information. So it would do me a great deal of honor if you really do enjoy these videos to share them on occasion. Let people know that you know someone who's trying to do something that may be a little bit different from whatever exists already, you know? And maybe it's the same as everyone else wants to do. But not everyone wants to speak about it and learn about it and continuously aspire towards whatever steps it takes to get there. I believe that any world that has any kind of remote possibility that we are shorting anyone over another, that we're shorting care for one another when we know we can easily offset things in ways that are sustainable. Even this very example probably came from sustainability, quality, and cost being a part of whether this got to me in perfect condition or not. To save money on shipping took some creativity indeed. But in the long run, if the shipping itself was already paid for in advance because we designed a system that was so precise that we could all use packaging, reuse packaging, using shipping, supply, distribution chains that are already there in place, wouldn't it be miraculous? Let's just say I had a plastic jug of some beautiful sugary substance that I loved to drink in the morning as a treat. Just making up a scenario. And actually, that's not too far off. Let's say I had a plastic container for blueberries, which I do try to enjoy every morning. But it comes in a plastic container. All those things that I throw into the recycle in my specific city, that whole city, if it has only those base few stores selling similar containers of blueberries, strawberries, etc., or if the containers were standardized, those things could theoretically be sorted out, sent back to the manufacturer, sterilized in a certain way, and not have to be produced over and over, especially if the whole recipe was tweaked just a little bit between all of the corporations, all of the powers that be. They would even make themselves more money because there'd be so much less waste and so much less backlog of work that had to continuously be done to achieve these goals. Anyway, I know it's a lot of deep thought, but like I say, it breaks down to a simple thing. I find a rhythm in everything I do. I find a rhythm. I find it inside of you. We take the measures 2 times. We only cut once. You know? Take the measurements 2 times and we only cut once. So many ways to eliminate wastefulness, but the first way is with an approach of mindfulness. A lot of things that we do pass right between our own hands. And a lot of those things we do are to entertain us, to keep our mind occupied from knowing what's truth from fiction. Those are just my thoughts. So let me know what you think. And again, have a great day. Peace.